It's not doing it yet. Oh, here we go, I think. Peace and Black Power family. This is Jade Arundel, aka Linus Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host, right here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women and some men like you. Today, we are going to talk about Culture Vulture, DJ Vlad, or of Vlad TV, who finally gets exposed and canceled. I'm not understanding why it took so long for this to happen. I don't understand why or how, these white folks have completely infiltrated and bastardized the sacred tradition of hip hop and entertainment, as it pertains to our culture. So we're going to talk about that today. With us, we have a very special guest. We have our brother Raheem Shabazz, whom I've had the honor and privilege of interviewing at the Foundational Black American Conference 2020, the first annual FBA conference. Shout out to everybody who was there. Welcome, brother Raheem, into the Lioness Den. How are you this morning?
I'm blessed and ready to receive and actually get into a spirited conversation about this Culture Vulture, Vlad. And one thing that you did mention was about the FBA conference. And, 2020 has been a hell of a year for each and every one of us, regardless to where you at in life. 2020 has affected you in some way. And the FBA conference, when I look back on the year 2020, that is going to be the highlight of my year, because I've been to 100 different conferences. I sat on 100 different panels. I sat on a panel here where you interviewed me, but the spirit of this conference was unlike any other conference I attended. And I just want to salute Brother Tariq Nasheed and yourself as well for hosting and putting on this event.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was a co-host. I was really excited to be in the space. I definitely enjoy interviewing you. I know I asked you a whole bunch of questions, but it was really good for folks to get to know you and your work. If you all don't know, our brother Raheem Shabazz is an award-winning filmmaker. He's made a documentary series that is so needed. It's called Elementary Genocide, and it talks about the crimes against humanity that happen to our Black children within the public education system and what we need to do in order to save them and protect them from that. So before I continue, brother, go ahead and tell us your website and your social media, and I'll make sure we do that again at the end of the broadcast.
The website is elementarygenocide.com, and my social media is at Raheem Shabazz on all platforms.
Yes, absolutely. So I see folks who are coming into the chat. Thank you for that. We're going to make sure our moderators put that in as well and circulate your website and your social media handles. I want to shout out everyone who has entered into the Lioness Den. Y'all already know this is a Black first, a B1 space. So give me a B1 salute and let me know your city, where you're hailing from. Also, I want you to remember that the Lioness Den is my program that comes on weekdays. That is Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, right here on our YouTube page at flynubianqueentv.com. You want to be sure to text the word Queens with an S to 31996. That's Queens to 31996. That way you get notifications if these social media platforms start hating on us and don't send notifications out. Be sure to subscribe to us also on iTunes and on Facebook. I told y'all yesterday, I said, listen, after I did my show, my segment in the Lioness Den, I said, y'all need to go over to our Facebook page at flynubianqueen.com and look for me. You don't know where I'm going to be at, but you don't want to miss it. And I ended up at Mitch the Bitch McConnell's house in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. And I covered a pretty integrated demonstration protest that was held by the Poor People's Campaign. The Poor People's Campaign. Now, the organizers here on the ground were Black women who put it together, and they had a rally gathered in a park, and then we walked. I filmed it. Walked in front of Mitch McConnell's house, and they took chalk and they wrote all types of messages on it. And I actually got the honor to interview an elder civil rights leader in DC, but also a national leader within the Poor People's Campaign, Reverend Hagler. I asked him some questions. I was like, look, it's a stretch for me being out here with all these non-Black folk when I'm advocating for Black issues. Will you think about that? So I asked him some real difficult questions. Y'all might find the answers to be really interesting. But again, I say all of that to say is that you want to be tapped in, you want to be tuned in, you want to be connected and subscribe to our content on Facebook, iTunes, as well as YouTube. So y'all welcome. I see we got Tennessee and Brother Raheem. The subscribers are saying they're hailing from Georgia, Tennessee, a lot of ATL. I'm getting a lot of B1 salutes in the chat. So folks are coming in here pretty heavy right now. Jersey's in the house, St. Louis, Louisiana. We got Norfolk, Denver, all over. All right, so let's get with it.
Let's get with it. You know, I'm with the shits. Let's go.
Listen, we're talking about these culture vultures. I mean, I have such vitriol for people like DJ Vlad. I don't know where that came from. I know he's Ukrainian. He came from the Ukraine or Russia or whatever the hell. I know he's married to a Black woman. I know he has biracial children. I know that, you know, people have like exalted him as if he is an honorary Black person. But in my world, Brother Raheem, there is no invitation to the cookout because my cookouts are family only cookouts. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the general rule is like, if you don't bring nothing to the table, you ain't don't bring nothing, don't get nothing. But all these people who have, in my opinion, legitimized this dude over the years are complicit in the disrespect that he showed to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's one thing I wanted to say. The second thing is, I'm gonna need people to stop saying that he misquoted. They're saying he misquoted the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He did not misquote the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He lied on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so if I'm a revolutionary lioness, you know, Black woman who is Black first and really, really consistent and holds a really, really hard line when it comes to the disrespect of our elders and defending our culture, I'm not understanding why these brothers in hip hop or who have been around this fool have legitimized this, or they're misspeaking and say that he misspoke or he misquoted the minister. I'll say those things. Now, the other thing is I want to set the record straight for our audience. The reason why I invited our brother Raheem Shabazz onto the program is because his career started within hip hop journalism. So he's well versed within the hip hop industry. I'm not a hip hop head. I don't listen to hip hop unless it's like some old school or something really, really conscious. And I've always been this way. You know, growing up probably since I was 13, because honestly, a lot of the messages and the environment that I grew up in, hip hop, traumatized me as a young Black girl coming into her, you know, coming of age in a world where, you know, she was reading Queen Afua, and Queen Afua was like, no, you're a sacred woman. Be intentional about what you put in your mind, body, and spirit. So I don't know all of the ins and outs of the industry. I'm not going to pretend to, but I do know how anti-Black racism and white supremacy works. And so it is my job as your sister on flynubianqueen.com to bring on experts, people who do know what they're talking about. And so I can bring my expertise in terms of talking about warfare and anti-Black racism and countering anti-Black racism and white supremacy within media, education, and politics. So with that, with further ado, I welcome our brother Raheem Shabazz as an expert into the Lioness Den, who's going to set the record straight and let me know and let us know what is really going on with this situation.
Peace, sister. I definitely appreciate you for having me here. When we talk about culture vulture and in hip hop, you know, this ain't start with Vlad and it ain't gonna end with Vlad. Vlad is just one of many people. He is the one that's in the crosshair right now. Vlad got his start in hip hop as far as the website in 2008. That's when he first hit my radar. I was a hip hop journalist and I started blogging because traditional media was no longer there no more. The magazine world, everything went online. And the reason why I left it is because it became gossip, you know, and to me, grown men don't gossip. And I fell into a little bit of that as far as reporting more on celebrity news and things like that. So during that time, I was like one of the top tier journalists when it came to hip hop. And when I started my blog, instantly it blew up. We was getting 3.5 million page views a month. Vlad reached out to me and a couple of known bloggers that was here in ATL. And I never did business with him at all. You know, he wanted us to aggregate our content to his site, and I didn't see the value in it. I'm getting 3.5 million views. Why so? To bring it up to date, you know, he went on and his site is what it is today. I think he got close to 5 million subscribers. His statement against Farrakhan, people were saying that he was misquoted. He was not misquoted. He actually lied. He's trying to say that he received faulty information, a doctored video. But as a journalist, you're supposed to do your due diligence. You're supposed to research your subject matter, and you know, you consider yourself a journalist. This is one of the ethics of being a journalist. And if what he's saying is true, he did none of that. So that shit is yellow journalism over there. But I always had a problem with Vlad. I think that, you know, we used to always say, yo, Vlad is the feds. And, you know, I don't know if he's working for the feds per se, but what he is doing is putting people in position to incriminate themselves. Like I've done a lot of interviews, and being that, you know, I'm from the streets, people used to reveal a lot of stuff, and I would never put that in the interview. You know, it's just certain things, even when they talk to you off records, off records. So I never really rocked with him. Um, there was, I know he was saying something about Easy E and her daughter had to check him. It's just a lot of things that he did in the past. This is just the as they say, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. You know, he doesn't want to apologize, and he has to, you know, he has to be canceled for that. And I listen to everybody's interview. I listen to Lord Jamal. I listen to Godfrey and Lord Jamal's. I listen to Mason. I listen to Ross 5'9". And what I will say about it is I'm happy that those black men are getting on cold. You know, one of the things, like, when you pull the trigger, you can't ride the fence. And this is what I hope don't happen in this case, because he's gonna feel the pressure. You know, Mason said that as long as he took it down and he issued a statement saying that he was misquoted, he was cool with that, right? Then he went on to learn that Vlad said that this month has been his biggest month ever, and his bottom dollar is not affected. So that's why he's not taking it down. Not that he don't want to apologize, because he felt, you know, he already took it down and released a statement saying that he was misquoted. He believes that black people don't have the power, and he's not even a guest in the house of hip hop. He's a colonizer. And he came and he not only raped and robbed and stole from individuals that went on his platform, to the tune of, if you go online, and you got to take what you read online with a grain of salt. But one quote is that he's worth 5 million. Another one is that he's worth 10 million. Possibly so. You know, hip hop is a very lucrative industry. But how many people have he made millionaires? How many people on his salary gets a 6-figure a year job? I don't know none. So he needs to be canceled. And I want to address something else you said. You said that he has a black wife and he has mixed children. That means nothing to me, right?
Absolutely.
Because the slave master used to have sex with black female slaves, right? So just because you sleep in bed with someone that's black, we know about your Greek, Roman, erotic fetish for the black woman. and it does nothing for me. You can sleep with a black woman today, and then tomorrow call her the N-word. So I'm not impressed by that. It means nothing to me. But that was a fun fact, and that was new information from knowing of this individual for 12 years. Why was it a secret that he had a black wife and black children? If he could hide that, what else are you hiding? You know, and I know, you know, certain public figures, you know, especially when you're in the public spotlight, you don't want to put your family out there, but not to know that you're married to a black woman and you earn your living and your revenue off of black culture. I don't understand. And the
Absolutely.
thing with him is he's a journalist. He has no talent. He's there's so many black journalists, so many black platforms. How do you make more money than a talent? How did and then he's not there's no profit sharing with him?
That part, there's no profit sharing with him. And that people were saying that he's made millions of dollars. I keep hearing this. He's made 10 millions of dollars alone off of what is it, Vlad TV on YouTube. Before I continue, I want to shout out everyone who's in the Lioness Den. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jade Arendelle, aka Lioness Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host right here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women and men like you. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Fly Nubian Queen, and hit that notification bell. We are having a real serious conversation with our brother Raheem Shabazz, who is a hip hop journalist, but an award-winning filmmaker and has made tremendous contributions to our culture. I had the honor and privilege of interviewing him in front of like, I don't know, 2,000 people at the Foundation of Black, at the Foundation of Black American Conference on Saturday in Atlanta, which was absolutely wonderful, magical. It was revolutionary. It was like the best experience of my year thus far. And our brother Raheem Shabazz says the same thing. It was like the best conference ever. So despite what may be circulating or floating around out there on social media, that's just exactly what it was. But you know, back to DJ Vlad, this culture vulture, you know, they're saying that he has made millions of dollars off of his YouTube platform, and there is no profit sharing. There's no profit sharing. No, people don't get anything for coming onto his channel. And it's just like, but he's making all of this money off of these interviews. And not only that, is incriminating people, asking people like, oh, so were you involved in that shooting? And it's so what were you wearing? Or what was so-and-so wearing? Like these agent type questions. And then when I was thinking about it, I was talking to my dear sister, Natalie, who I'm really, really close with. She's done some work. She's out of Brooklyn, by the way. She's done some work within the industry. And I told you, I'm not an industry person. I'm not a hip hop or music person, but she had some contacts. And then I was looking at Vlad's bio on his career. And I know he was one of the producers or directors or something on the American Gangster series. Right. And so that's kind of like investigative journalism. And so I see a lot of the tactics that he does, that he uses, that he's gotten people caught up with the law by just coming onto his platform. So I never really understood why people kept going on there anyway. Now, for certain folk, if they have a message that they want to get out, it's like, you step onto someone's platform, they have a message to reach people. If you feel like it's an important message, you want to go on there to reach your people. So I can see that part of it as well, but I don't see how the hell this white boy from Russia or the Ukraine or whatever the hell he came from, was able to come into our community, prey on it, as you said, with no talent, and make all this daggone money and just like really suck resources like a parasite out of the Black community and bastardize hip hop, and then get people to incriminate themselves on his platform at the same time. I don't get it.
Vlad is not trying to promote or push the culture forward. As a hip hop journalist, I used to receive hundreds of emails weekly from publicists asking me to interview their artists. Anytime an artist has a record come out or a video, they go on a promo tour, they doing interviews with all the major outlets, the bloggers. When the last time you seen someone go on there and promote their album? or he actually talks about hip hop. You know, he doesn't do none of that. He talks about, you know, the underworld that exists within the Black community. And most of those individuals are former gang members, people that was in the underworld in the early 90s and 80s. And we living in a different time and era, you know? So to bring them and to glorify them and to take the words of our community and put that on viewership for millions of people, it really says a lot about his character. Now, what I'm upset about is when World Star was doing a lot of this, there was a big uproar about it. You know, and World Star was owned by a brother, rest in peace to Q. And there was hundreds of thousands of signatures. There's a petition right now on change.org with 800 signatures on there. You know, I don't know if it's because the individual who put it out or anything like that. That's neither here nor there. But it just goes to show you, you know, when Cardi B came out with her video, they started a petition on there and it got hundreds of thousands of signatures. So us as Black people, we got to prioritize what's very important to us. And if you think that Vlad TV is detrimental to us, the least of the harm is done if we don't get him and cancel him from our culture. Because if he is allowed to continue to do what he does, then there will be others to follow him. And like I said, he's one of many people that needs to be canceled. And I commend the rappers, and some of them had differences with each other, but they all on code right now. And they need to stay on code, and they can't ride the fence. And the only one that I'm really unsure about is our brother comedian Godfrey, because on Lord Jamal's podcast, he was saying, yeah, so we're not doing Vlad no more, and we're gonna take a time out. And Lord Jamal had to correct him, like, nah, this ain't no time out.
There
He's
is no
canceled.
time out. It is
He's
he's canceled.
canceled. And what I want to tell Black people, let's just say, for the sake of the argument, right? Because his bottom line, his bottom dollar is going to be effective. His viewership is going to be affected, right? So let's just say 2 weeks from now, he humbles himself and he said he made a grave mistake and he apologized. Listen, never forgive, never forget. Look what happened to Nick Cannon. He apologized 37 times in one interview. You think they gave him his job back? So we got to stay on code. And when they say never forgive, never forget, they mean it. You know what I mean? Like, listen, hip hop will exist without Vlad. In fact, it will be better. And we got to just stay on code. That's all I want to just tell people. We got to stay on code.
So this is not going to be a very popular statement that I'm about to make, but I got to make it because the spirit is telling me to make the statement. Every single person, Godfrey, and Lord Jamar, these people who have really been regulars on his platform and caping and co-signing this dude, they owe the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in my opinion, an apology for legitimizing this dude, and everybody else who made him feel as if he was, you know, he was one of us, or was able to take license to have this level of entitlement and disrespect, you know, that kind of led us to where we are today. It should have never gotten to the point where he lied on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He lied on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan because he felt comfortable to do so, because he felt that he was I don't even know the word, entitled to do so or privileged enough to do so. One, and then two, you know, our brother Rizza, and shout out to our brother Rizza Islam, who was also at the Foundational Black American Conference. Our brother Rizza Islam, in his in his YouTube video that he posted about a month ago, made it, you know, he was saying that the truth behind the matter is Vlad was salty because he wanted the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to come onto his platform to do an interview with him. And then he lied on the minister and misspoke and said that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made an quote unquote anti-Semitic statement. I personally don't use the word anti-Semitic at all, but this is what's being hurled out there. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. I don't use words like anti-Semitic and all of that stuff. I don't believe in that. But either way, our brother Islam was saying, well, Vlad lied on the minister and took a sound, something that he said on his epic July the 4th address to the world. And that Vlad did this, according to our brother Islam, in retaliation or because he was salty that the minister wouldn't come onto his platform to be interviewed by him. First of all, who the hell do you think you are, white boy? Yes, Vlad. Who do you think you are to think that you are even worthy to sit in the same room as the minister, to breathe the same air as the minister, let alone thinking that the minister is supposed to come onto your platform to be interviewed by you for what? Who do you think you are? That's the whole point that gets me so amped up and angry about this whole thing, because it's just like, okay. And so he felt that he had this level of entitlement to bring the minister, he invited Minister Farrakhan onto his platform. He got declined, and then he lies on it and then refuses to apologize. And, and people like my son and their feelings, he was like, wow, I had loyalty to a fault. That's a character flaw of mine. If he didn't think that he needed to apologize, I was just like, okay. But the fact that he said he doesn't have to because it's not hurting his pockets, that's why I'm going to have to pull back my support. Well, brother, with all due respect, I love you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Hashtag Breonna Taylor, all that good activism work and advocacy work that you do. And at the same time, you owe everybody, all of y'all owe the minister an apology for this white boy's disrespect, because y'all, whether you want to admit it or not, enable him to feel like he can even be emboldened enough to do so. So that's what I have to say on that. And, if you want to comment or, add on or whatever comments you have, Brother Raheem, feel free to do so.
Yeah, Vlad, he got way comfortable, and that's the problem. When you let individuals come in your circle that are not a part of the culture. And I think that they should have made him apologize. It ain't, you should apologize. Nah, you're going to apologize. And I know we living in a different time, these are grown men, and people feel like, he's a grown man. I can't make another grown, okay. In the streets, they will make an individual apologize.
Yeah, it's like they feel like they could not, I'm sorry to cut you. It's like they're not enforcing anything with this white boy, with this white man.
Laws is to be enforced. Laws is to be enforced. And from the inception, I always had a problem because I personally know Lord Jamal. Lord Jamal is my brother. He's a part of the 5% Nation, which I am a part of for 34 years strong. So I know Lord Jamal, and I used to sit and I used to watch his interviews, right? And I used to say, like, why are you sitting down? To myself, like, why is you sitting down with this grafted devil? Our lessons tell us he loves the devil because the devil gives him nothing. So now they all have a wake-up call. You elevated this man to $10 million net worth, and none of them got nothing. You may was able to aggregate traffic to your site, but monetarily you gain nothing. He used you as a tool and also a slave, and that's what our lessons tell us. We know who the devil is. You know what I mean? He's a grafted being, and what he did was he grafted the truth and turned it into a lie, because what Farrakhan said was, you have to take the stone of truth and knock falsehood in the head. Something to that effect. He used a parable. He wasn't talking about physically taking up a stone and hitting Jewish people or hitting anybody. So that part was doctored, and he made sure that he said that he wasn't talking about physically doing that to anybody, and they never played that part. And truth be told, Nick Cannon was at that event that was held on the 4th of July, and you see him at the end, And the Jews was upset about that, you know. Even what's his name? Ivan, what's his name? Ivan Irvison, Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson, the old basketball
Yeah,
player.
I'll be mad.
Yeah.
I'm not into sports. I'm sorry. I know who he is. I just messed the name up. But do you know that he took a picture with Farrakhan that was probably maybe 10 years ago? And he apologized for taking that picture with him and said he doesn't condone racism and hate. See, this is the problem that I have with people. Like, they could tell you who to stand by. They could tell you who to condemn. Like, listen, man, you have to be a black man. You have to stand on your truth for square. You have to stand perpendicular. And if you believe in what you say, then die like a man with that. And we got to stop doing that. And I think that is what is happening, where you got individuals that can make you repudiate somebody. And come on, man, stop it, man. You know, this individual holds no power in hip hop. And what I want everybody to do, right? Because it's easy for us to say, all right, we're going to cancel Vlad TV. And most people might be prone to go to his site because he, you know, daily he's updating on what's going on in black culture. But there's other people that's doing it as well, and they need to be supported. So what I did, I subscribed to, well, I was always had a subscription to Lord Jamal's podcast, comedian Godfrey,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody else that's out there. I'm subscribing to their podcast. So Lord Jamal, I think he's at like 100 and something thousand subscriptions. By the end of the week, he should be at least 250,000. Like, all the energy, all the views that we was giving to Lord to Vlad, we need now to give to Lord Jamal. Those same individuals that felt it was necessary for them to go on Vlad TV because they had something to say, I guarantee you, if you go on Lord Jamal's channel, you're gonna get the same response. Give it some time. It took him 12 years to grow that platform. You know, 12 years is not a lot of time. That can be done. That a platform with what 5 million subscribers, it can be done within the next year if we put our energy and our focus into it. And that's what we have to do. We can't just complain about him because there's going to be others. But if we have our own black media that we can go to, then we won't need the Vlad. Vlad wouldn't even exist. I posted up on my Instagram. I said, when we done with Vlad, the only people that will be subscribing to his YouTube channel is white boys that listen to rock music in their mother's basement. And that's what needs to happen.
That should have, yes, that needs to happen. So I want to know how we're going to get there. And I have some other questions for you, Brother Raheem, but I want to welcome everyone into the line is dim right now. I think we're at like 913 people who are watching live. Shout out to y'all with our brother Raheem Shabazz. I'm Jade Arundel, aka Lioness Crown, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host right here at flynubianqueen.com, the network for melanated women and men like you. This is a Black First space. We are here on our program at YouTube, flynubianqueentv.com on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We are also over on flynubianqueen.com on Facebook. You definitely want to go live. So when I'm out in the street and out in the field covering things in the world that Black people need to see from a Black perspective, you definitely want to be subscribed so you can see where I be at, because you never know where I'm going to be and who I'm going to be with. The other thing is, I want to remind you all to text the word Queens to 31996, Queens to 31996. That way you will get notifications when we do go live. And I want to shout out everybody who is investing in our platform, who is investing in Black media by hitting the super chat today. I see a lot of folks have been hitting the super chat as our brother Raheem and I have been chopping it up today. So I want to thank you all for investing in Black media, because along your point, brother Raheem, we have to invest in and support Black voices who are, covering media. So
especially those that are unapologetic, especially those that are unapologetic, because they are very far in between. And we have to remain on that course. We have to be unapologetic in everything we say and everything we do. Mm-hmm. And this is the true measure of a man.
Mm.
You know, me personally, I don't have white friends. Maybe it's because of who I am and what I represent, and I'm good with that, right? I don't need no friends. I don't have no allies. I don't have no friends, like our great grandmaster teacher John Henry Clark told us. But listen to an individual, how they talk in their presence, and listen to how they act when they're around white people. That's who the individual really is. So I don't know everybody's relationship with Vlad. From what they saying, he was a good friend. So it wasn't just you sit down and you do an interview. You know, y'all discuss politics. Y'all must have something in common to hang out. And at the end of the day, you really didn't know this man. You didn't know this man express vitriol for black people. Mr. Louis Farrakhan, when you agree with him or not, he's a leader. He's an influential figure. Over 60 years of work in the black community. What the hell this white boy did? Been on YouTube for 12 years? That shit don't mean nothing. So we gotta privatize, you know, who we support and who we don't support. Now, there's certain people in the black community that needs to be canceled. But we're gonna start with him. And there's a long list of other people, but we're gonna start with him. And what we have to do, I was trying to get to this point earlier, is that we can't be on the fence about it. You know, I don't care what he do. You know, I remember he put up a video saying that, you know, he donated to Black Lives Matter. That's how disconnected he is from the culture. Black Lives Matter never sent not one black child to college.
At all.
Paid for rent for anybody, bailed anybody out of jail. That's a multi-million-dollar for-profit organization that does nothing for the people. Now, I'm for the Black Lives Matter movement, but that organization, come on, man. You supposed to be a hip hop journalist. You know how many hip hop artists got nonprofits that give back and that are doing stuff and that's influential in the community, but you seen the need to give to Black lives? Shows he's disconnected from the community. You didn't even give no money to anybody that sat on that couch of yours and did an interview with you. You gave it to an unknown entity.
Yeah, definitely an unknown entity. This is one thing about Vlad that I wanted to say, and you know, I know you're as being the hip hop journalist, you know, your background's in hip hop journalism. I want your opinion on this. Now, Vlad would legit bring people into his platform and ask them these incriminating questions, right? By the time folks get done, the FBI, CIA, police, whoever it is, could have a whole discovery and dossier on a person based off of his line of questioning and how asking questions in a way that gets people caught up and have gotten them in prison and just really caught up. He does that, right? And people would still support his platform. These rappers, especially, who would go on there and tell all their business. And I don't know if it's like, and I'm mindful that we are on social media, so I'm not going to say anything that is, you know, would potentially cause any sort of drama with YouTube and their platform or whatever. But I'm wondering if there's something about sitting in front of a white man as a black man who is still enslaved in his mind that would have them divulge or have be compelled to divulge all of this stuff that would be that goes against their own interests, that could literally get them caught up. Because I'm wondering, I mean, I know that a lot of these brothers who went onto his platform and answered these questions the way that he was asking them, if it was a black man asking them those questions that could potentially get them caught up, they would be hella defensive, but they'd be like, nah, what are you trying to do here? But for some reason they sit in front of this white dude and it's just like they're bearing out they're saying things or articulating themselves in a way that does not make them look good, actually works against them. How could they do that? Now, I compare Vlad as being a white, you know, dude of whatever religious background, you know what I'm talking about, right? To the dude, what's his name? Rosenberg.
Yeah.
The dude Rosenberg, who has interviewed people, who has also been legitimized within hip hop culture, but does not or has not had a track record of interviewing folk in a way that gets them caught up or in a pickle or in a jam legally. Right now, the issue that I had with Rosenberg is that what he would do is, you know, he would produce music that would be like with the N word, N word, N word, and black women is bees and all of that kind of stuff. But as soon as you say something that is offensive to his folks, you know, then he's all hypersensitive and very fragile and wants people to apologize. Like, you can't have it both ways. But one thing that Vlad does, and he has like a way bigger following and platform, is that he actually gets folks locked up.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that, like, I don't understand like how that works, like how these dudes, how these people have become so dominant in our sacred oral tradition platform. I mean, I know there's a whole history behind that, but when we look at Vlad, if I want to cancel him, I'm canceling all of them. I want to see the black man take control of the culture, of the industry, of the art form. I want to see the black woman, you know what I'm saying, also taking control and leadership and controlling the culture and defending it as well. I mean, I think that if we want to cancel Vlad, all of them need to be canceled. And if people want Vlad to apologize to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, then everybody else who came along and has legitimized this dude also owes the minister an apology, period, point blank. You know, and what do you think about that?
First of all, I think that we are beyond apology. Like, we passed that stage. You know, your grace period to do that shit already expired. So that to me, that's not even an option at this, you know, at this junction of the game. Now, to answer your question about why people go on his platform and confess their sins or their past dealings in the underworld, I have no fucking idea why anybody would do that. Let me tell you something, right? I'm not in the streets no more. I'm still associated with my street family. You know, they reach out to me. They always tell me they love what I'm doing. If you need anything, Raheem, I got you. So I'm in constant contact. I run into a lot of guys in the streets. And sometimes I have to tell them, yo, chill, I don't need to know that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, why you calling me, talking to me about that on the phone, man? Come on, stop that. You know, some people just have a habit of running their mouths. And if you're really in the streets or whatever you did in the past, if you're not using that as a cautionary tale to deter other individuals from doing it, you know, some of the interviews I could respect, you know, like with Ricky Ross, the brother that was caught up with the CIA and stuff like that. He talks about how he was entrapped and how they used him. And he shows how he left that former lifestyle and what he's doing now, movies, books, and speaking out and different things. That's just one of probably 7,000 interviews that you probably can find where someone is giving a cautionary tale about the underworld. Other than that, it's bragging about what you did, who did what, why this happened and that happened. And there is no journalistic integrity in his interviews at all. You don't ask certain questions. And I don't understand, like, you, listen, man, maybe it's me, I'm cut from a different cloth, but you.
That's right. Brother, you froze. Y'all let me know if y'all can still see Brother Raheem Shabazz.
I froze. You can't,
Oh, now you go. I can hear you now, but
okay.
the camera froze.
It seemed like your camera is frozen.
Oh, really? Am I frozen, y'all? All right, we
It
keep
looked
talking.
like
Keep
it.
talking.
Oh, now you good. Now you good. See, when I start going in, it start freezing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, we got to fight until hell freezes over, and after that, we got to fight on the ice. But another thing I want to say, right, as far as black men, black women, staying on code, right? Whoever the enemy is against, I am for, and whoever the enemy is for, I am against, right? So there should never be individuals second guessing whether I should be on code or whether I should side with this individual because we've been a friend. Like, listen, man, you broke the bond, you broke their friendship. you know, when you didn't have the integrity to do what was right. Like if it was me, and this is just me, it wouldn't even went to the point of, yo, you gotta apologize. I would have put you on front and center stage and told individuals what you did and why I'm not associating myself with you no more, whether you apologize or not, because that was an intentional act. That shit was a war crime. See, people don't understand, right? When
A
you
war
read,
crime. Yes.
when you read that book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, and you know your history and know how they run Hollywood, and you know about the Anti-Defamation League, they have a that because
They
an
chopping you
individual.
up, Brother Raheem. They chopping you up. As soon as you said that,
You
scramble.
can't
But
hear
we
me.
get you. We get
I'm
it. Yeah,
I'm good now.
you're good. But it's if you keep on that line of discourse, it's gonna keep freezing. But I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
the
think they got an
anti-defamation
algorithm
league
in
and all
here?
that stuff, huh?
You think they got an algorithm in this YouTube thing where,
Absolutely. Yes, this is warfare. Media is warfare. Politics is warfare.
man?
YouTube
But
stream
listen,
is
I'm
warfare.
gonna send you the link, right?
Okay.
They talk specifically about Farrakhan, and they said that everything that they did, they was unsuccessful, and now what they have to do is illegitimize him into the public eye, and they had a layout of the specific ways they was going to do it, you know, because he don't rely on third parties or corporations for money and nothing like that. So it's really hard to infiltrate their ranks and all of that. So they said they're going to use one of their own. Here it is, an individual that's Jewish and has Jewish ties. Who's to say that they didn't send him that the Anti-Defamation League didn't send him that clip and told him to put it out? Who's to say the Anti-Defamation League is not backing his platform? Like
Very
people,
interesting. We don't know.
let me tell you something. We are dealing with spiritual wickedness in the high places and a very cunning devil. So you have to look and analyze every single thing. And let me tell you something. You think he probably don't want to apologize? He probably can apologize if he took that money. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, for sure. I want to thank you for that. Make sure you send that link because I'm gonna put that link in the chat and people can go and definitely look into that. I want to remind everyone who's tuned in right now, we have like over 1,100 people tuned into the Lioness Den live and direct with myself, Lioness Crowned, your sister, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host right here at FlyNubianQueen.com. We're with our brother Raheem Shabazz, who's an award-winning filmmaker and an expert on this topic, as his background is in hip-hop journalism. All right, I want to let everyone know who's tuned in. We are looking for new queens to join our platform. So if you want to be a part of Fly Nubian Queen, then make sure you send an email to producer@flynubianmedia.com. That's producer@flynubianmedia.com, and you'll get further instructions about how you can join our team if you're really interested. So serious inquiries only, email producer@flynubianmedia.com. I also want to remind you all about our shop. We have a whole bunch of merchandise over there. Buying Black is essential if we want to create our own liberation, right? So if you want to support some of our products that we have, visit our shop at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. Also, we can't build a strong Black nation if we don't have a strong Black economy. And so if you need support with starting a business, or maybe if you want to take your business up to the next level, if you want to get your money straight, learn about investing, we have programs available for that as well with some of our queens who are leading the charge as really successful women. Go over to flynubianbusiness.com and flynubianmoney.com. That's flynubianbusiness.com and flynubianmoney.com. So I do, brother Raheem, want to transition into a couple more questions.
That's cool.
But one thing that I did want to say is that, religion is religion and culture is culture, but sometimes, you know, the two do intersect. I just want to put it out there that, you know, this dude, this culture vulture, Vlad, who's an Ukrainian or Russian immigrant to this country and who has bastardized our culture, has done a tremendous damage to our culture, has disrespected our great leader and elder, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to point out that he says he's of Jewish heritage, like he's Jewish, but then he also says that he's an atheist. And so I'm just throwing that out there, that oftentimes people will you know, they'll take two sides of the argument, or they'll play both sides of the fence. It's like, okay, are you identifying with your religion or your culture? And I don't give a damn what your religion is. You can still be of a different race and practice any religion. You can be of any given race and speak, you know, various languages or whatever the hell we're talking about. So let's just keep it, I keep it, you know, I have a race first ideology. Like, use a white man or a white boy and you are practicing anti-Black racism. I don't give a damn about how many Black people you've had on your platform, DJ Vlad. And I want everybody to hashtag cancel Vlad TV. Facts, straight up. If you, after this, are still subscribed to DJ Vlad or Vlad TV, you're not welcome into my program. We're here live and direct. Weekdays, flynubianqueentv.com, which is our YouTube page at 12 p.m. Eastern time. You're not welcome here. So if you want to co-sign, listen to, cape for, whatever, make excuses for, tiptoe around DJ Vlad or people like JW Lucas or anyone who disrespects our culture, you are not Black first. You are not welcome. You are not welcome. You are not welcome into my space, period. So I just want to say that. And anyone who is caping for Vlad, moderators right now, I want you to block them. Block them. They're not welcome here.
Cancel them. Block them.
Cancel, blocked. So listen, we talked about holding people accountable. We talked about holding people accountable, and certain people need to be shut down. And you did talk about some of our brothers and sisters need to be shut down as well because they are toxic and threatening to our culture. But let's keep I want to keep the focus on these white folk and white supremacist culture vultures. What specifically do we need to do to hold these folks accountable? Like, I'm asking this question because I kind of want us to, or you to articulate this from your very, very powerful Black male, unapologetic Black male perspective, so we can have it all in one place of this interview. You talked about a time for apologies as being expired. Like, what do you think is the steps of if we say we want our people to be on code when these sorts of things happen, what should be done step by step? What do you think the protocol is and should be, especially within hip hop and media and canceling these folks?
The first and foremost thing is y'all gotta know y'all history. You gotta know who your open enemy is. You gotta know how he moves, right? Because one thing that you said was key, that he's a Russian immigrant that's a Jew, but he considered himself an atheist, so he's not a part of the Jewish religion or whatever. That shit don't even sound right, right? So a lot of people say and do things to throw the scent off. Man, you Jewish. You know, if someone say something bad about Jews, he'd be the first one to respond. So you have to know when you're being hoodwinked or when someone's trying to hoodwink you. And I think that's the first thing that we have to know. Now, the second thing is that what on code means. On code means that, and I know you was getting to it when you were saying that we need to stay on the white boy, and we're not talking about, you know, other Black people that need to be canceled, is that if we have a disagreement, that we don't settle that disagreement on a white person's platform. Like, you should never, ever say anything about another Black person on a white person's platform, because he is monetizing off of your the social ills of society or whatever problematic situation you may find yourself in with another Black man. He is not there to mediate it. He ain't trying to squash the beef. And in mainstream media, you know what they said: if it bleeds, it leads. You know what I mean? So he wants something to happen. And listen, let's not forget, right? Let this be a warning to anybody else that feels a need to disrespect our elders. that shit ain't gonna be tolerated. You know, when Dr. Francis Cress Welsing transitioned, there was an individual that disrespect her, and we went at him heavy. And he lucky he didn't get disciplined, because that's what it's gonna come down to. You know, either you get canceled or you get disciplined. Vlad, he's getting canceled. He's lucky he don't get disciplined. And it's not up to me. You know what I mean? People are free to do what they want. And if they feel the need to discipline him, so be it. Because this got to stop. We in 2020. What used to be permissionable 10, 15 years ago, that shit ain't happening no more. That shit ain't happening no more. Yo, no one's scared. We ain't docile, and we ain't having it. And I could care less about anybody monetary gain and how much they make and what they could do for me. I'm a free black man. I don't rely on nobody, because when much is given, much is required. And there's individuals that helped me along the way of my journey that it would be a slap and disrespect in their face for me to even sit down with a person like Vlad. For what? What I'm gonna teach him? What he's gonna teach me? And I get it. You know, some people are saying that, you know, they're able to reach more people by being on this platform. Listen, the people that you're reaching is not the demographics you want to be in. Because I'm just surprised, like, who actually goes to that platform? Like, there is nothing in that platform that's going to empower me on my journey today. Like, and don't get it wrong. Like, I'm not going to say I never been there. I never clicked on a link. I never watched a video. There has been times. And I remember one video where I was like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that. He was talking about investments and how he took his money, a sizable amount, and invested it, and it did real good for him, right? Do you think this white boy is on there telling you about buy, sell, profit, and repeat and take out your money? Do you think he's telling you how to do 20 pips and dip a day and how to trade in the Forex market? You know, how to set your resistance, your stop, gain profit? You think he's telling you that? He's not going to empower you with that, because he don't care about you. And he probably feels that that ain't a market that people will gravitate towards, which is wrong.
So this is the thing too that I wanted to insert, and before I forget this, one of the things that came up when Vlad said that he's not going to apologize because he didn't say anything wrong, and then he also said that because this isn't hitting him in his pocket. And I know I made this comment earlier. I want to remind everyone to make sure you hit the like button right quick and that notification bell. But I don't know how or why that statement that he made came as a surprise. Like, I think a lot of these people who have been caping for him, where they said that he was, you know, they were his friend, they were shocked when he basically said, well, if this isn't hitting my bottom line, I'm not compelled. I don't have to apologize because it's not affecting my money. Right. And I bring up that point. You made me think about it, because you're talking about, like, he will talk about certain topics. Like, he has, I think you say he's done something about how he has flipped money and made money, but he's not using his platform to educate our people on how to get into the game. He's not going to do that. And so, exactly. And he hasn't done that. So how does it come as a surprise to these people who claim that they were his friend, and now they feel betrayed all of a sudden because he's saying that, well, I don't have to apologize, make an apology to the Black community because it's not affecting my bottom line. You know, one of the things that we have to do is really pull back our support and pull back our dollar and make people feel it. Like, that's a form of punishment. That's a form of discipline. Right. But again, if he, you know, people can go in on Nick Cannon all day long and say that he was wrong and he has to apologize. Like you say, he's apologized like 10,000 times for, I don't know what. I mean, he was speaking facts, in my opinion. But a lot of these folks these Black men who claim to be his friend, they're trying to hold him to the same standard that the industry is holding Black men and Black women to as it comes onto their group. You know what I'm talking about. And to me, that makes me feel sad, because it's just like, yo, these brothers are out here with all these influence and they don't understand truly or fully how racism and white supremacy works.
And you know what? I really can't even answer that question because I'm not them, and I can't fathom the idea. How you gonna be God and friends with the devil? How you call yourself king and be friends with a peasant? I don't get it. I don't understand why anybody would even align themselves with him. So you know,
Yeah, I
hopefully
get you.
hopefully this is a wake-up call for them. They realize that he was a devil yesterday, he's going to be a devil today, and he's going to be a devil tomorrow. That zebras don't change their stripes, and it's always going to be the same. And if 400 years of their history of what they do and how they do it is not convincing you enough to recognize them for who they is and not what they present themselves to be, and you don't see that, then you're a low frequency slave and you deserve every goddamn thing that happened to you. But it's my job to let people know and to warn them. Now it's up to you to take heed. You know, there's other platforms. Fly Nubian Queen.
Yes.
Do you hear that? How that rolls off the tongue? Fly Nubian Queen. Soon as you see that, you're supposed to click on, yo, what's this about? You know what I mean? And then it's sisters that's unapologetic on here.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, we're not supporting Cardi B. Well, I'm not. I'm speaking about
Entrepreneurs.
my content. I'm not supporting Cardi B and twerking and WAP and all that extra
Right.
stuff. So, you know, that's not very appealing to the average person who, you know, who they like slackness, they like low vibration, you know, energy, and have been programmed to do so because of, you know, television, music, and all of these other things. You already know, brother, you've been a member of the 5% Nation for a long time. So you're an expert in all of the things that I'm talking about. But we already know that we have dignified, righteous Black women, as we have the queens on Fly Nubian Queen Network. Then ain't nobody trying to hear that. The reason why Vlad and other people, even like Black folks with some of these platforms that talk about this low frequency, low vibration stuff, I mean, they have so many followers and support because people actually like that. People were actually coming at me and trolling me and coming at me for the countless things, statements that I made and videos that I made denouncing the irresponsibility of these Black women, who are celebrating whole and thought culture. You know, so nobody's trying to a lot of people, the masses aren't about that, but it's okay. We just need a critical mass of people. We don't need everybody.
Right. That's
We don't
right.
need everybody. Now, my final question to you before we get into, because I want to spend some time talking about your work and your contributions to the
Okay.
culture. I feel like after this last question, which is going to be an action step coming from you as an expert, let's talk about the positive and us reclaiming ourselves in our culture. So that's where we're moving right with this right now.
Okay.
Final question. Who else, like there's some other people who make vulgar, ignorant comments about Black women, about Black men, about our elders, about some of our ancestors who were lynched. You know, I know Lil Wayne made a comment about Emmett Till a long time ago. That's just an example of the things that I'm talking about. And then there are white folk or non-Black folk who make disparaging comments about our people, and they feel like they can do so because hip hop culture co-signs it. Who are some of the other people or types of people, if you don't want to name names, who are the other types of people or behaviors that we should be looking out for that would land somebody on the cancel list?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm gonna go through it and then I'll answer your question. But I just want to go back a little bit because you said that Lil Wayne was canceled. I mean, Lil Wayne, when he said something, he got in trouble. I think he lost his endorsement deal with Mountain Dew. Then you had Rick Ross, where he talked about Molly, and he lost his deal with Reebok. And there are some other known cases for individuals losing their deal because something that they said in rap music. And that goes to tell you, you know, those who hold the church, I mean, not the church, those who hold the money purse is the ones that's in control. So at any given time, when you say anything, or you catch some backlash that's not good for corporations, they're gonna take it away from you. We as Black people, we have to exercise our power because we are a power. You know, we have more gross income than what is it? We like the ninth rated out of every country, our gross income. So we have economic power. And if we cancel somebody, it's going to affect their bottom line. But we don't do that. And when you were saying that there's a lot of people that like detrimental music as opposed, and that's what the masses like, you was 100% right. We don't need everybody to be on cold because everybody's not going to be on cold. Marcus Garvey said that some of these Negroes is not good here, and they're not going to be good in Africa, right? So listen, whatever we decided to do, wherever we decide to go, everybody ain't going. And truth be told, if you want to talk revolutionary, before the revolutionary start, the first 10,000 bullets is going to have to be to our own people. Because there's a lot of bootlickers, coons, and individuals out here that's doing certain things that's detrimental to the community and to the culture, and we'll never move forward if they're in position of power and we allow them to exist. That's if y'all talking real revolutionary. But since we ain't doing that and we on here just talking, your question was, who are some of the other people that needs to be canceled?
Who are some of the other people that need to be canceled, and or what are the behaviors that would land someone on the cancel list? So for me, if somebody is talking about children, for example, pedophilia or something, you cancel. Absolutely. And I'm gonna just say that you cancel. If people are white folks are out here disrespecting Minister Farrakhan, in my opinion, or our elders or ancestors, cancel. So you can name names if you want to. I'm not putting pressure on you to name names. I'm not a messy individual, so it's not necessarily about that. We just want to make sure that we hear from you.
When you're talking about individuals, you talking about individuals within Black society and within hip hop culture, or if you're talking
Black
about
Black or white, right off top, I would have to think about names, but I definitely can name some situations where we have to be serious about it, right? The individual, he was a hip hop producer. They said he worked on a lot of big platinum selling records where he was really saying that Breonna Taylor was involved with drug dealers, and she knew what she was getting into. J.W. Lucas, that white boy.
Oh, that's who it was.
His name is J.W. Lucas, and now he's on this whole new thing, and we can talk about this later. Maybe I'll bring you back on, but he's trying to corroborate a Trayvon Martin conspiracy to say that the killing and the media attention around Trayvon Martin's death and his girlfriend who testified wasn't a real girlfriend, and this whole this racist conspiracy that some old white dude came up with in a documentary. J.W. Lucas
he needs to be canceled. Yes. He needs to be canceled. He needs to be canceled. And you know what? I know we living in a different time, in a different era. And sometimes, man, I'm stuck in the 90s and the 80s because, you didn't cancel nobody. Then you just put hands on them. You disciplined them. Some of these people need to be disciplined because you're playing games now. Like really? But how many individuals that worked with him held him responsible? You know what I mean? And that's what needs to be done. Like individuals, they need to go through his discography. All right, this is who you work with, and start making personal phone calls. Yo, you heard what homeboy said? Yo, what's your thoughts on that? Yo, you need to check him for I do. You know what I mean? Like that's how it got to go. So individuals like that, anybody that's saying, yo, he shouldn't have resisted, or he should have just complied. And when someone the life is choked out of them, and you tell them he should have just implied, not obeying a police officer's orders, whether lawful or unlawful, does not determine a death sentence. So anybody saying that he should have complied, that don't even mean you're gonna live. A lot of times when you do comply, they see you as docile, they see you as scared and as a punk because you ain't standing up fighting like a man for your rights. So it's better sometimes to fight like a man and go out dying than to be compliant and you're still gonna die anyway. So individuals that do stuff like that said he should have complied and it's not the police fault and if only he would have listened, they need to be canceled. Anybody that express vitriol or anti-black racism to any individual in our community, and they don't have to be a prominent public figure, they need to be canceled. Any disrespect towards Black women has to be addressed immediately. There's no grace period on that, you know. And oftentimes, if it's physical abuse, then we pass the policy apology stage. Apology will not be suffice, right? Because we as Black people, we have to use the last dollar in our treasury and the last bullet in our arsenal to defend the Black woman by any means necessary. Because if you don't defend your woman, then that shows your weakness and people are gonna prey upon that. Like, you gotta understand, we dealing with cowards and they always look for soft targets, and that's children and women. So you have to be on the front line of the defense for that. So I just think, man, we as a people have to strategically move and study our enemy. Like for instance, right? Say if Vlad, he appeared as an up and up guy that really had undying love for hip hop, right? And we hanging out and our conversation is based around hip hop, and I'll be like, yo, someone tell me, yo, he got a Black wife and Black kids. And I never heard him bring it up to me. I never seen them or anything like that. I would be like, yo, something fucking wrong with this dude. Something's up with him. Like that would have raised, huh?
I don't want to
That would have
cut you,
raised the,
brother, but I want
huh?
to interject. I said I don't want to cut you off. I want you to keep going on this point, but I want to interject that last night, Star, who has his platform, who used to be on the radio,
Yeah.
Star on Buck Wild, said that he's hung out with Vlad and his wife, and it was no secret, and he never hid his wife from anyone. But that's what he said last night. You know,
Yeah,
and
I never hear him speak about it. I you know, maybe I'm out of the loop, but I don't. What the hell is this?
the
Hold
camera
on.
just popped off.
Yeah, somebody calling me. You see me?
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, somebody was calling me. But that should raise a red flag, you know. And then sometimes, listen, man, you gotta test a person's friendship. You know, ask them questions. Yo, what do you think about this situation? You think the police was wrong? See if he's gonna stand on the right side of history. You know, the way, you know, some of them individuals were saying that they stand on loyalty, and if someone's their friend, and it was almost to the point where they said, you know, yo, this is my friend and I'm ready to ride with him. And I was like, wow, for him? Okay. You know, I'm like, wow. You know, my lessons tell me he loves the devil because the devil gives him nothing. You give me nothing. Like, there's no loyalty, there's no friendship, there's no allyship. But I'm a different person, and people are subject to live the way they want to live, but then they got to face the consequences. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean? And I think that's the consequences for all of them for having friendship with an individual that don't give a fuck about you. And he telling you that specifically and in your face. And I think a lot of people have to realize that there is an individual that can be cool with you in a time of need. You know, they said that he lent money. That was the refudiated. He said he never gave me no money. He might have helped me out once or twice, but I wasn't on the payroll. But they do certain things where they try to use that over your head. You know, how could I be racist? And, you know, I looked out for you in a time of need, and you would think like, yeah, he couldn't be racist. You know, he was there for me when others wasn't.
Absolutely.
Listen, this is all a game, man. Whatever he gave you was a drop in the bucket for what he got and profited off of when it came to Black people, off our pain and off our suffering.
Thank you. You know what? when I heard that, you know, I know what you're referring to, and it made me think. I was just like, you know what? This is confirmation. This is why I was taught this in my household, and I still live by this. Do not accept anything from anybody and everybody. I don't. I won't. You know what I'm saying? Not a favor, not a whatever from any and everybody, because everything comes with, you know, with strings attached, which is why, like
Absolutely.
business, it's a give and take. We're gonna have a mutual, like, you know, something for something, but it's never like, oh, let me lend you some money. Oh yeah, I'm your friend, blah blah blah. And especially when it's not somebody within, you know, the family.
Yeah.
You
All
gotta,
money ain't good money.
yeah, because people do favors to get loyalty and to know that they're like, okay, well, I can dominate this person. I can get this person some hush money, or they're going to kind of be aligned with me because I'm greasing their palms, or I'm just doing them a favor. Even if they return, you know, the favor is returned, but still, it just, things like that kind of get messy. So thank you for bringing up those points. Final thing is that we're going to transition into our brother Raheem Shabazz talking about his work. And before we do that, I want to remind you, I'm Jade Arundel, aka Lioness Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host, right here at FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women like you. Be sure to text the word Queens to 31996. That's Queens to 31996 to get alerts and messages when we do go live. Also, my program is called The Lioness Den. This is a Black first space. You must have the heart and the courage of a lion or a lioness in order to be welcome here. We are live and direct at FlyNubianQueenTV.com, which is our YouTube channel, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And then y'all already know, I do some organizing work. I do, you know, political advocacy and a whole bunch of different things with a whole bunch of different people. So if you want to catch me live and direct out in the field as I'm doing my work and sharing some of that with you, you definitely need to be subscribed to FlyNubianQueen.com on Facebook. If you want to join our team, send an email to producer at FlyNubianMedia.com. That's producer at FlyNubianMedia.com to you know, send some of your content over. And if you want to join our platform, you know, you can get instructions for doing that. Check out our programming at flynubianbusiness.com and flynubianmoney.com, and our shop, of course, where I got my mug. I'm drinking alkaline water today, y'all, no coffee. Uh, go over to shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. And again, if y'all don't know who we've been talking to today in the Lioness Den, this is our brother, Raheem Shabazz, who is a hip hop journalist, also an award-winning filmmaker. He's going to talk about his career, starting out as a hip hop journalist, but, you know, most recently, his docuseries Elementary's Genocide. And he also has a really cool podcast that's out streaming on other networks and platforms. So we want to hear from our brother, because we spent enough time talking about the problem and some of the cancers around and within our community and our culture. And now I'm going to give our brother an opportunity for us to end, you know, our conversation today on a Black empowerment tip about ways in which he has and is continuing to defend and take back our culture. Go ahead, brother.
All right, thank you. That was very lengthy. Before I start out, I want to say thank you for having me on this podcast, and thanks to all the Fly Nubian Queens out there. I definitely love what this platform stands for. When you said that the lioness den, and you have to be a lioness to enter, that says so much. You know what I mean? Y'all don't need no sheeps and followers and people that are allies to our open enemy. So I just want to say definitely respect to that. So as far as myself and my career, many people know me as a documentarian. I have 3 documentaries out. One of them is called Elementary Genocide, the School to Prison Pipeline. And in that documentary, essentially what we talk about is how the government and the school system uses the 3rd and 4th grade reading level to determine how many prisons they're going to build in the next 10 to 15 years. And then they sell those prisons on the stock market. You can actually go to the private prison website and you will see the little ticker for the stock market, and you will see that it's increasing, right? You also, they had a picture on there. They probably took it down, but it's still somewhere on the internet. It showed when Obama made the announcement that within 5 years he was phasing out federal Bureau of Prisons doing any business with private prison, the stock went down. When Trump came in and reversed all of that, the stocks went up. So this is big business, and we have to stop that pipeline. So that documentary, I have everybody in there from Boyce Watkins, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Umar Johnson, Killer Mike, Francis Quest Wells, and David Banner, Kalanji Chenga, our sister Zaza Ali, Shahrazad Ali, and so many other luminaries, Professor James Small, Kaba Kenley. A lot of people I'm forgetting, Dr. Professor Ed Gons, just so many other people, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting your name, but it's a 3 DVD set series. The second one is Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration. And with that one, we went back to the landmark ruling of Brown versus Board of Education. We asked the proverbial question, has integration done us more harm than good? We know it done us more harm because during that time when that landmark ruling went into effect, 80,000 Black teachers lost their job. Essentially what they did was integrate the students and not the teachers. So those teachers that was Black, fly, Nubian queens, right? That had our best interests at heart was no longer there for us. And we had those who wanted to miseducate us and teach us about Christopher Columbus discovered America and George Washington never told a lie. That's what they was there for, and that's what they taught. And that's why many of you Negroes are still miseducated today. So we did that in part 2. Part 3 is called Academic Holocaust, where we talked about how the assassination of your mind, the assassination of your critical thinking is no different than the assassination of unarmed men, women, and children by these race soldiers, and how the state execution of Black people is done with impunity. And that closed out the series. Very powerful documentary. I employ everybody to go and get that. And for those who have children, this is very serious. When your child is in the 3rd grade, according to statistics, Black children, they are 1 year behind. By the time they reach the 8th grade, the majority of them are 2 and 3 years behind in their academic achievement. By the time they reach the 8th grade or high school, they either drop out or they end up in jail. This is a pipeline that can be disrupted, and those that are parents need to start homeschooling their kids. You need to look at the education that's being done in school. Now, how can you send your kids to a school named Robert E. Lee, and the teacher is teaching the Queen's language, which is the Queen that sanctioned slavery, and you think your child is going to have a high self-esteem about themselves? It's not going to happen. You need to send them to Marcus Garvey Academy, Freedom Home Academy. These are Black institutions and home schools that kids are learning in, and their academic achievement excels those that come out of the public school. So I don't understand. It should be a no-brainer. You know, those that are in homeschooling or in a Black Afrocentric school, there is 0% of school to prison pipeline, and it shows their academic achievement is so much higher. I had a list, I gotta find it, right? And it was like all like, I'm not gonna say famous, most of them was famous, but like known individuals, all that was homeschooled. And you'll be surprised all the people and names that are on the list, how
Yeah, I would love
smart
to
they
see that.
was. Huh?
I would
Yeah,
love to
how
see
smart
that.
they was, the achievement that they was able to do. And even if you forced to send your kid to a public school, you know, that doesn't end right there. You know, you have to educate your kids. You have to teach them their real history.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
and another thing I want to say real quickly before we get off. So that's the documentary work that I do. You can go to the website, elementarygenocide.com, and purchase a copy of that. You can go on Amazon and stream it. But another thing that I do, I have my own podcast.
Yes.
So we're talking about supporting platforms. I have
Mm-hmm.
a podcast called Necessary Blackness Podcast.
Yes.
And that is a podcast for those who have love for Black people and their culture. There'll never be a culture vulture on there interviewed at all. That's something for us, by us. And that podcast is hosted by my lovely co-host. Her name is Marcy Lee, very fire sister. And she is a fly Nubian queen. So we do that weekly. Sometimes we might do it 2 days out of a week. And that's something that I do to empower the community. You know, it's free of charge. There's no advertisement. We accept money from third parties. So I say what I want and I mean what I say, and I ain't apologizing.
Facts.
I'm
We do
not
not bow,
apologizing.
we do not turn the other cheek, and we do not apologize. We do
I'm
not
not
forgive.
apologizing. So I want y'all to check that out because I'm notorious for getting suspended from Twitter and being in Facebook jail. So a lot of times you might not see me for like 30 days. Sometimes, man, Instagram, it was 4 months. That was hard though. That Instagram was hard. I had to make another account. So, you know.
4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. Yeah, I got 2 accounts. I got another backup account. They gave me back my account, you know. But when you have your own platform, and this is what I tell people, you know, I'm not trying to get followers and this, that, and the other. But if you don't see me on social media, my platform is my platform. You can always reach me on there. You can always, you know, they can't control that. So that's why it's good that you support individuals, their platform, whether they're on YouTube or not. Support their website, subscribe to their email, because we don't own none of this, but we own our platforms. Unless they're gonna stop the .com, and I don't think they can do that, then they ain't gonna be able to stop my message. They ain't gonna be able to stop the truth. And I know there's people out there that's gonna support me.
Yes, thank you so much, brother. I put all of your information in, your name, your social media, as well as your website for Elementary Genocide. I also put in the Necessary Blackness platform. I let people know that it's streaming on Spotify and other platforms as well. And they can also go over to your YouTube channel to subscribe to that. My sister is messaging me. And, you know, make sure y'all support Black media, y'all. Okay, we can't talk about canceling, getting rid of culture vultures or people within our society who are detrimental and a threat to our culture if we're not supporting and uplifting the positive and the empowerment. So please make sure you support our brother Raheem Shabazz. It was a pleasure interviewing him. Again, I keep bringing up the FBA conference, the first annual Foundational Black American Conference 2020, which was phenomenal. I mean, you had to be there in the flesh, in the spirit and the vibes that was there, and how high the energy was and how motivating it was, and how we're going to continue to keep the conversations and the work going and implementing those solutions that we got from there. So it was an honor meeting you at the conference and interviewing you in front of all those people. And I'm grateful that you were able to come on and establish some boundaries for the culture as a strong, unapologetically Black king that you are, brother, and defending the culture, as I can't say that enough, but also like using your expertise as a hip hop journalist or someone who started out in hip hop journalism and who was an award-winning filmmaker and a problem solver and thought leader in our community. So I want to say thank you. And I'm going to give you the final word if you have anything that you like to say to our audience before I sign off.
My last and final words is we are the holders and keepers of ourselves in predicament, and it's up to us to liberate ourselves. And when we are in the midst of a culture vulture or someone that express vitriol towards Black people, we need to cancel them. And if cancel them don't work, we need to discipline them. You can take that the way you want, but it stops in 2020. We ain't gonna have this. You ain't gonna disrespect black women. You ain't gonna disrespect the black man, and you damn sure ain't gonna disrespect the black children. Absolutely. That's it. Peace and power, black family.
Thank you so much, brother. I want to thank everyone who tuned into the Lioness Den today. You'll find me back here at 12 p.m. Eastern time. All right, y'all already know what I say every time I sign off. This broadcast is ending, but so is global racism and white supremacy. We will and we must trample and defeat this beast through fortitude, preparedness, and collectivism. And always remember that they stole us, they sold us, so they owe us. Cancel Vlad TV. Until next time, family, peace and black power. See you later, brother. Raheem.
Peace.
Peace.